today's Madge Unmuted, we're talking about a whole lot of shit. I can't even begin to sum it up for you. So you just got to listen. We're going to talk about 90-day fiance and bursa sex and sticking needles in your eye and reconnecting with old flames. Take your pick. It's a whole smorgasbord of crap today. So come on in. The water's fine on this new episode of Madge Unmuted. Everybody, welcome to another episode of Madge Unmuted. I am your hostess, Madge Madigan. That's me. And we're here on another episode. Hey, guess who's with me, as always? My lovely and talented producer, Fitz. Hey, hi,
what's going on? Magic?
Nothing.
Magic.
I mean, a lot, you know. And then that... Also with me is our great friend, Christopher.
Hey there. How are you?
Hi, one of my besties. And if you haven't noticed, I've got big news for everybody.
Oh, now I thought you were going somewhere else with
I know.
that.
Big what?
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I have big news. We're going to be every week now. We're going to be putting out new episodes every week.
Madge puts out every week.
Every single week.
Puts out every week.
That's... we need a T-shirt that says that.
Sometimes more than once. If you're lucky.
If you're lucky.
Well, we were doing it every other week. And now, like, people, like, I can't keep track. When are you on? Why aren't you putting out another one? And I'm like, okay, Jesus Christ, I'll put out some more.
Why aren't you putting out, Madge? Yeah.
I get asked that all the time.
Now she's gonna. Right.
Exactly. And now I will. You can count on me putting out more.
Hey, can I get you to give my wife a call? Just to maybe something will rub off.
Oh.
No.
I know that costs extra, Madge, but
yeah, rubbing off costs extra.
We're off to a grand start.
Yeah, right.
All right.
Fantastic.
You know what? I have to get a better looking thing than a glass
Your
of
vodka.
water.
Yeah, that's a lame vodka glass.
Yeah. I should put a martini glass out here. Hey,
Oh, that would be nice. Yeah.
I know. I gotta turn up my headphones. There we go. That's a little bit better. That's what happens when you get old. You can't hear shit anymore.
What?
So, yeah, I know. What? So, yeah, speaking of putting out.
Oh.
I don't know
That's
anything about that. Oh, no. Well, I was just speaking of vodka. I was talking about I have to get a better looking thing than a
your tumblers. That's a lame tumbler.
Yeah, I need a better tumbler game. What do you think?
If that was actually vodka, I would. Ugh.
Well, yeah, me too. I don't want.
Or gin. Maybe a little gin.
Oh, God. My head's starting to hurt already.
I'm sorry. If it was a martini, maybe.
As I celebrate 6 years of sobriety on January 30th.
Oh, congratulations.
Yay!
Hello.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I have been sober for 3 days.
I thought you were going to say for about 6 hours.
And that might end tonight. So I'm sorry. I don't mean to make light of.
No, you can. At least for
anything.
me. Other people I can't speak for, but
you know,
you can joke about me all you want.
That is the thing. Everybody, you never know. Everybody's so different about, well, fucking everything. Everybody's so different. Well, isn't it true? I mean, that'll bring me to another, like, thing about relationships. We'll go back to that. But, like, the sobriety thing, I know so many people that, you know, they don't want you mentioning that they're sober. They can't go near a bar. They can't go near people to drink. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to, you know, I mean, and then I know people that that are sober and they can go to a bar and sit with other people while they drink and just have a soda.
Yep. Yeah, so. I mean, and each person is there for whatever reason. You know, we all have our own reasons to be on that journey, and where we are on that journey too is a big factor. You know?
Yeah, you would think over time, right? Do you think it changes, Fitz, over time?
Well, for some people,
Yes.
for some people, no.
Oh.
I've known people who were 20 years sober, and they said that they were always right on the edge of a relapse. Always.
Yep.
Interesting.
And me,
Yeah.
it's like you gotta pry my mouth open and pour that shit down my throat for me to be there.
Really?
You know what I mean?
And why is that? Just you don't have a taste for it anymore? Or?
I don't know if I ever had it. I think it's really like what the risk versus reward for me. When it came to the point where it was like, okay, let's go through the whole process. Why do you drink? You drink so you can get buzzed, so you can feel better, so you can laugh and all that kind of stuff. Well, what happens when you do that? Your first drink, fan-freaking-tastic. Second drink, not as good as the first drink. Yeah, you got to drink the third drink to try to get to where the first drink made you feel, but you can't because it's not possible. So then now you're 6 drinks in, and now you're just sloppy, shitty, and just like, ah! And then you wake up the next day feeling like you blew a truck. So it's like, why? Wow.
So you have like
I said,
burns on your lips?
We all
Is
have
that
our
it?
different. We all have a different rock bottom, I guess. His name wasn't Truck, but it doesn't matter.
Oh, okay. All right. I was going to say, jeez.
But you know what I mean? It's
Get
like
tailpipe
I knew
burns.
a guy named Truck. Never blew him though. Seriously, I did know a guy.
you knew a guy named Truck. That's kind of weird.
Actually, his
Wish I didn't
full
say that.
nickname, and I don't know if you're watching, Aaron. He lives in Denver. No, his full name is Beer Truck. His full nickname is Beer Truck. I knew him when I lived in Denver, and we're still friends online. So
I used to know a
really
guy in high
awesome.
school named Beer Can, but he was called that for different.
That was different. Yeah. Right. Jeez.
I dated a guy like that. Anyway, anyway, this is going right into the gutter first thing. So,
Were we out of it at any point?
Oh, jeez. How funny.
no, you know.
No, Minnesota.
Oh gosh, don't you know? So, speaking of the gutter, and also I'm going to get back to what I was saying about everybody's different on things. Speaking of the gutter, one of the worst experience. No, I shouldn't say that. It wasn't that bad, but I had a really traumatic experience this week of having to sit through a deposition. Have you ever had to do that?
Oh,
No.
Yeah,
not.
it's not fun.
Were you deposed?
I was.
Ooh.
It's that I had a car accident a few years
Yeah.
ago.
Right. I remember.
Well, the other party's what do you call them? Insurance company was like kind of dragging its feet, so we had to take legal action. Yeah, I know. So it's because of that. So where I'm like the one that got hurt, and oh my god, like.
And
it
they act
reminded
like
me-
you're the criminal.
Yes.
Yeah. And you guys were hit
was-
from behind, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
And it's like, what
You're
were
like,
you
I
doing
was just sitting
in
there
your
minding
car?
my own business.
Well, it wasn't so much that the accident was. It was the like. What do you do? I thought your arm hurts. Why are you doing this? Well, I don't know how else I'm gonna like wash my hair every day. I didn't say my arm was like dead, hanging off by threads. You know what I mean? So it's just like they kept asking. But I know also they ask you things more than once to see if you have the same
Catch you in a
story.
lie. Yeah.
Or
Right.
yeah, right. And I'm like, I get it, and I know the attorneys are just doing their jobs or whatever. But it was just like, no, it's like when that's why women don't often.
Yeah. Don't talk. Yeah. Don't ask. Don't tell.
Yeah, that's why women don't often bring their accusations to certain things of light
Yeah.
because
Because then they're the one that's in
they're
trouble.
they're
Yeah.
questioned like the criminal. Anyway, that was a lot of fun. So I'm going back to the sobriety thing. I just had a thing. So certain people, sometimes they'll have a relapse, or other people will be judging, like a celebrity. They'll be like, oh, she was spotted in this bar in LA and she looked drunk. And it's like, and she's made it public she's on the wagon or whatever. Who are you to fucking say? Who are you to be the judge and jury? You know what I mean?
I mean,
Like,
shit.
so what if she did fall off the wagon? She'll get back up on it tomorrow. I mean, that's none of your business.
I know for me, whenever I see someone who had, look at a lot of these people who died because of an overdose, if they were, heroin was their drug of choice, and Philip Seymour Hoffman was sober for 20 years or something like that, and he relapsed.
Was he?
And it was, a lot of times with that drug, when they relapse, boy, they can't handle what they used to be able to take, and they OD almost immediately. And that's happened so many times. And I know some people get on their high horse and start, well, it's weak character and all this kind of stuff. And I feel horrible for them. Because how bad, especially if they've had 10, 20 years of sobriety, what did they have to be going through at that time to make them fall back into that way? It had to be horrible.
Terrible.
Horrible.
And that's what, I've had a few people in my life that, were tried to get sober, and it's ongoing struggle. Some even tried for a while, and then they went back to drinking casually, and they're okay. And then people like, oh, you should. It's like they just need. That's none of your business.
Yeah.
Maybe they just needed to dry out for a while, collect themselves, and say, look, okay, I can't do that. I need to calm down. I'll go out, have one drink, and then they're fine. I mean, I think there are people like that. They're just like, I had a friend like that. He wasn't going out getting hammered all the time, but he was just like, I just don't, I'm just gonna keep a watch on this. And
and a lot of times it has to do with what people are going through at that particular stage in their life. Like maybe there's something
or
that's
divorce
really bad,
or
that they need to self-medicate for.
Sure.
Like, this is the only way that I'm able to dull the pain that I'm going through right now. And when they eventually get through it, then they realize, like, wow, so now I'm not drinking, but also that other part isn't there. So now I can drink, and I'm not trying to numb anything. I'm just
It's that self-medication.
It's rare, but it happens.
Yeah.
Right. You're right. I mean, because over the years, I had been dealing, my ex-husband was drinking while we were married. We got married in 1991. So, when we were dating, he was even, so, I've been well versed in this since 1990. And so,
did you get married were you in college at the time?
No, I was 25. I got married when I was 26. He was 24.
Oh, okay.
Hindsight's 2020. I should have waited. We should have dated for a little while, and because I don't think he was. I know we were still in. Well, he was. I was starting to get out of that college party mode, and he was still heavily in it.
Yeah.
So anyway, the whole sobriety thing, though, it's like I have. Tell me what you think about this, Fitz. When you said, you just had your 6-year anniversary. I mean, I get it if you're doing that for, if that helps you to count milestones and reach. But I feel sometimes that puts an undue stress on people, because then, somebody will be sober for 3 years and then they fall off the wagon and then they start counting all over again. And I just think that's kind of shitty.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And, for some people, it's a reminder of all the work that you've done up until that point. And you're like, wow, that's 6 years of consistency.
Sure.
And a lot of people who have substance abuse problems can't get any consistency for more than a couple of days. So 6 years of consistency of one particular thing is groundbreaking.
Sure.
Some people.
Well, it's something to be proud of for sure.
Yeah, yeah, and again, it all depends on what that person went through. Like, our rock bottoms or my rock bottom is laughable to some people. Like what I was like, I can't do this anymore. This is enough. And other people, like early in my sobriety, I would go to AA, and I went to these meetings, and I had to stop going to the meetings because I couldn't deal with listening to the stories anymore because, one, my story was nowhere near as horrible as theirs. So I felt really a lot of empathy for them. And at the same time, I was like, I need to move on out of this environment that I'm in.
Sure.
Exactly.
Because they're talking about, I was stealing from my mother to buy booze, and I was this, and I was, abandoning my kids and all this stuff. And you're like, wait a second, I just wanted to stop drinking.
Yeah.
Well, and I did the same thing when when we were still married, and it was suggested by my therapist to go to Al-Anon. And I went to like a couple of meetings, and I was like, this isn't anything that I'm going through. I mean, this was, and I also know when they say, find a meeting that works for you. And so I guess it's, whatever you feel comfortable with. Again, and mine, there was a lot of people that had alcoholic parents, and they were just horrendous. And I'm like, I'm just trying to deal with a husband that just drinks too much. He doesn't beat me or assault me. I mean, well, outright assault me. You know what I mean? And it was like, I just like, this isn't, and it was just like, granted, I know there's not any, but it was really fucking depressing.
Well, yeah. That was why I was like, I got to get out of this environment. I can't. And I was going to, it was like a Saturday 6 a.m. meeting, like,
You're like,
but I
can't
figured,
do this.
I was like, if I'm serious about this, then I'm going to show up for something that really is taking me out of my comfort zone. So I'm going to go, I think it was 6 or 6:30. It was early, whatever, on a Saturday. I was like, this sucks. And so it was like, no, I don't want to do this anymore for so many reasons. But the biggest reason was because I just can't live in that space where in that depressed, just like, so just feeling terrible and I mean, and there was a lot of people who were very upbeat and positive and being like, we're thankful and grateful and living in an attitude of gratitude and all the time. But there were also people that were there every meeting. They were there in tears talking about how since the last meeting, and they've got a litany of things that they've done since the last meeting. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, oh, you poor thing, but I can't hear you do that anymore. I just can't. It's terrible.
There's different levels. People are different, and that's like, even like after I got divorced, I remember dating, well, even, after that, anytime along the way, you meet people you meet other divorced people, and they are in a completely different place than you, like, I would be, and that's a common thing for divorced people. Like, somebody will be like, I was 5 years divorced. I was pretty much, 10 years, whatever. I was like, everything over it. Yeah. And
then other people like, lose maybe the love of their lives too, and they're devastated about it because they might be the one that was divorced upon. Too,
yes. Yeah. It wasn't mutual, and they were still trying to get over it, and they spent the whole date talking about him, or they haven't even made it to a certain point yet, and it's just like the timing is not right. Just look me up in a couple of years or something.
Well, because everybody's struggle is their own. I think that's what you were saying initially, is everybody's so different on the way, their circumstances are very different. And
right. So let's talk a little about my favorite subject again, 90 Day Fiance.
Oh.
Switching gears. So,
speaking of depressed.
Speaking of depressed, and I decided, so many times over the years, people are like, "What is your podcast about?" And I'm like, "I don't know, stuff."
Everything.
Yeah, exactly.
What isn't it about?
Yeah. So one of the things I thought I've been zeroing in on, and I think, I don't know, I might take this somewhere, I don't know, but it's like pop culture.
It is.
I talk a lot.
Current events.
Yeah,
Right.
current events, pop culture, pop psychology. There we go. But like I get a lot of views when I talk about, pop culture. So, and like that's something I love. So, if you guys don't mind me talking about it,
We don't. I learned so much because I don't get to watch half of those shows.
well, I think that's kind of the funny thing about it is that I watch it a lot and I'm explaining it to someone who doesn't watch it.
Yeah.
And
It's like Madge Notes. That's
Yeah,
what-
like the Cliff Notes.
Yeah,
right?
like Cliff's Notes, but it's Madge Notes. And
Right.
now I don't have to watch that toilet television
Oh,
because you watch it for us.
Exactly.
But you know what? It's also holding a mirror up to society to a certain extent, don't you think?
Oh, that's
Yeah.
absolutely what it is.
Yeah.
And I also know that I've learned through many friends in the industry that a lot of it's not real.
Right. Sort of scripted.
Yeah, it's scripted. The producers encourage them to talk about things. I mean, if you look at, it's so funny. Did you guys ever watch like Real Housewives?
Yeah, I've seen
I've seen
it.
some
beginning?
of that. Yeah, the beginning, yes.
The
And then
very beginning episodes, it's so funny. The production quality is so fucking bad because I think because that was kind of the advent of it.
It was a startup.
Right.
Yeah, they were like literally like following.
They were
them
trying to
around
figure out, finding their way, sort of, yeah.
with like a beta cam. You'll laugh
On their shoulder.
Yeah, exactly. With the guy walking behind with a battery pack. So, but now they'll be showing somebody in the car and then what a coincidence. Another housewife calls her and asks her to, whatever. And it's like,
And somehow they have a camera with the one
other
that
person.
called.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Like,
The crew
So-
happened to be there and like, hey, why don't you call?
yeah, and like this shit is set up, and then you'll even hear, they have these NDAs, non-disclosure agreements.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know, but it's so funny. I think they're kind of, before they were so strict. Like you couldn't even mention the fact that it was a TV show. The characters couldn't mention, like the Bravo ones. They weren't allowed to say that it were Brandy, Andy, or Bravo, or anything that it was. And it's like, okay, this is kind of getting hard to do because shit happens in real time, and then the editing cycle is so long that by the time they edit the next season, a whole litany of shit had taken place in the past year that, excuse me, people in the real world had either, posted as gossip that they heard about, or they witnessed something, or somebody's on their Instagram and all of a sudden they're not posting pictures with a wedding ring on anymore. You know what I mean? So they're kind of getting away from these NDAs, which I think is good because I think those kind of took away some authenticity. But anyway, so some of these characters, they'll be on interview show, podcasts or whatever, and they'll talk about in my confessional or interview or whatever, because now you'll even see they'll sometimes put because before you could never hear the producer's questions. They would just answer the question as if they were narrating something. But the things they're saying is because a producer off screen asked them the question. And so, but now sometimes they'll have subtitles.
oh, of what the question is or something?
Yeah, of what the question is, because the person's not mic'd up, but you can faintly hear them. And it's so obvious. They're like, well, what were you thinking when when Kyle said this, do you think she was really telling the truth? Well, no, you know what I mean? So it's like they're kind of forced to show their hand now, which I think is good, which is like, yeah, just tell us that you set this shit up for everybody to talk about it. You know what I mean?
Do you think people think that it's just unscripted and that it just is all happening natural, though? I mean, I think...
yeah.
Oh, maybe used to, because I think maybe used to be that it was more common, right? Yeah.
Well, yeah.
It was just sort of happening. But then they encourage it now, the behavior, right? The flipping the tables and the leg and all that sort of stuff, yeah.
And so, because I was actually reading... I was reading a book... I can't even remember what it was, but it was about like the evolution of reality TV. And if you've noticed now, like in the Emmy Awards and stuff, they'll call it unscripted TV, which is still stupid because then I remember even a few years ago, like getting to meet people in the business and then looking for jobs in the business, there would be writers. Or there would be advertisements for writing jobs.
Writing unscripted?
For an unscripted show. And it's like, how does that work?
Wait just a gall darn second.
Yeah. And so anyway, this book about the evolution, and they were showing like these clips and the whole thing about the Real World, the very first episode of the Real World. And like, that really was... They just threw a bunch of people in a room. And
whatever happened. Yeah, because they all had to stay together, too. Didn't they all live together? They rented a big house on the beach or something, and then...
No. The very first one was they were in a loft in New York City.
Oh, were they?
But also, come to find out through this thing that, like, several of them they weren't staying there at night. Like, sometimes they would go and leave, and I don't know. I got to go back and read it. But there was stuff that was happening that even then it wasn't, okay, this isn't quite so real, but it was more real than the stuff now. Because also, like now, you'll never see a woman that's not all made up. And that drives me insane. Because when they'll go, like they'll show them, we're at the gym, and they got hair extensions all out down to here, full makeup, and I'm like,
just happened to be at the gym, right?
Yeah. Who goes to the gym like that? I could not go with all that hair and sweat with all that makeup. So it's all just bullshit. So anyway.
Anywho,
Fitz, did you dip out because this is boring?
Not because it was boring by any means.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway,
no.
So
I
this
had
90 days.
Emergency I had to deal with.
Okay.
I had a family emergency.
One Adam 12. One Adam
right.
12.
See the lady about the.
So
see the man.
Kelly has bad knees, like really bad knees, and she just got these gel injections in one knee today, and she said it was the most excruciating pain that she's ever had, and she was really upset.
My mother had that done too. Yeah,
I had a worse place than that.
Oh, boy.
I had some arthritis kind of stuff in the knuckles of my toes.
Ooh,
it was like my bursa sac had filled up and. Toe knuckle. Yeah. Okay. So here's the bottom of your foot and fuck you, Fitz.
Toe knuckles.
Sorry. Bursa sack. Next on Madge Unmuted, where's the most uncomfortable place you ever got in a shot?
My
Madge is
bursa
going to
sack.
talk about her bursa sack.
Your sack or your knuckle?
my toe knuckles. Oh my God.
Oh, jeepers.
So, say this is the bottom of your foot and these are your toes.
Are you a podiatrist?
I had like these two middle toes or whatever. They would give me the shot right there.
Oh, right in your sack?
Yeah. In the sack. Think about getting a shot in your sack.
I got my sack cut open once, and then they went in and clipped things.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
And then they stitched it back together.
Yeah. Oh man.
How'd that feel?
That was I went into, they do it like right in the office,
right there in the waiting room.
Right there. It felt like it.
The receptionist did it.
They put me on the table, and it didn't look like an operating room. It looked like the guy's office. It was literally like his office.
Oh,
and I'm sitting
Those
there, and they're like,
outpatient things,
"Let's get you ready," and they
Drop
put me
your
there.
pants.
And they sit me up there, and then they go and do something else, and I'm laying on the table like
With no clothes on?
and they're walking
Flopping in
around,
the
and I'm like,
breeze.
"Hey, can you?" And then they come and they're
Can I
like,
get
"All
a
right,
towel?"
this is what they say this is going to be." There's a certain word that he used, like I can't remember what he used, but it was like
Vasectomy?
no, like how he said it's going to feel. He's like,
it's going to pinch a little.
"Yeah, that's it. It's going to pinch a little." I'm like, "That's not a pinch. That was not a pinch."
to grow an inch.
Well, I got
But-
things cut open so that
Best thing
3
I ever
kids
did.
could come out.
Yeah.
wasn't-
That's more worse.
No.
That's
Much,
terrible.
much
Okay.
worse.
Much more worse.
So anyway, how the hell did we
I
get
don't know.
Who the hell knows?
We were
How do
we were
act in
last
the real
discussing
world?
both of your sacks.
Yeah, exactly. Welcome to Sack Chat.
Weekly. Now weekly, right?
You got a sack now weekly. Yes, you got
Yes,
a
now
sack.
weekly.
We'll chat about it.
Also should be on a
sack.
t-shirt. Oh,
We
God.
got all the sacks.
Madge unsacked.
Yeah, that's Fitz unsacked.
Oh, unsacked. Yeah.
Sax player.
So they'll script things, but then they'll also tell these people to play up things.
Sure.
So-
because that's exciting. That's what they want to do. They want to get the...
Right. And so I learned that I already had a feeling that people couldn't possibly be this stupid. I did learn that
Just an inkling.
yeah, just, I had a fleeting thought. And then some former people like, yeah, they tell you to play up this shit. But I was also, I watched they don't call them a reunion anymore. They call them a tell-all.
Oh,
where after the season is done, they'll have all the couples or
line up on a
whoever.
couch.
yeah, and they'll kind of do a post-mortem on.
And it's a clip show, right? They'll play clips of the scene that they're talking about, and then they'll all
Yeah,
kvetch about it and whatnot.
yeah, they'll tell them. So what's going on? Are you two still together? Or last we saw you were talking with so and so's mom or whatever. So there's all these couples that are vastly different, and I caught myself because a lot of them, like the women, would do something. This one girl. Well, there's a few of them. They're so jealous. Like, I don't want you being friends with anybody. Like, these adult people. Like, I'm talking about, like, if you're somebody that's our age, you've had a lot of experiences over the years. And there's some shit that happened 30, 40 years ago. And, like, you don't even think about it anymore. But this one girl was like, if you've ever talked to a woman ever in your life, I don't want you ever talking to her, or, I kissed that girl 30 years ago. I don't want you talking to her, but now she's married to your best friend. It's like,
all right, whatever.
give me a fucking break. I like me. But then I realized some women can't be like that, or some men, whatever. But I'll still stand by that it's stupid and it's a lot of freaking wasted energy, and just give your person a break.
I have a perfect example of that.
Okay.
Sort of.
Perfect.
Semi-perfect? Is that
Semi-perfect, yeah.
So, Kelly's talking to me about this dream she had about her ex-boyfriend. And she's going through this whole thing. And then I'm like, well, glad you're dreaming about your ex-boyfriend. Now, I have no reason to be jealous because he, died last year. So she's like, he's dead. I'm like, so he's occupying your mind. He's renting. He's rent free in your mind, or whatever they say.
Yeah, living rent free.
Yeah,
Right?
living rent free in your mind. But it was kind of funny because it was like, I actually for a moment there got jealous that she had a dream with her ex-boyfriend, even though he's dead.
Oh,
You really did.
God rest.
For a minute, you got jealous.
well, because don't you think that's your knee-jerk reaction? Like when you hear
'cause I'm
that, you're like,
why are you having
wait
a
a
dream about
second.
your ex-boyfriend? And then it's like it doesn't matter.
See,
You
I
can't
don't.
control your dreams.
Right.
I'll have a dream about somebody and be like, why the fuck did I just dream about that person?
right.
Right.
Like,
and
who knows? I
that's-
scrolled past them on Facebook.
Right. Right. Or you heard their name in a TV commercial that you didn't even realize. You can't control that. And a lot of these things, well, like from, talking to Sheila last episode, there's stuff that's just ingrained in your DNA. There's every memory, every experience you have makes you. So you're going to have these things. So the one problem with this one couple, like, I don't have a problem. John will tell me stories about, past people. Sometimes I
was going to say there's a couple, however.
Yeah. So anyway, maybe that's a bad example. So,
all right, change that. Strike.
Change that. So unless they give you a reason to be. But
Yes, I was thinking of.
what the hell was I talking about? I'm so thrown off right now.
You can't control your dreams, right?
You can't control. But the problem with this one guy, so this guy's he's like 34. He's from Florida. He's a real Joey bag of donuts from Long Island, and his girlfriend that he met. She lives in Poland, and she's like, I don't know if she's 25, 27, 30, something like that. I don't know. And
25-year-old Polish chick? All right. Keep talking.
But she's like, she's a very stern woman. She's a very authoritarian, stern woman. She's like,
sturdy.
Who is that? Who are you talking to?
Eastern Bloc.
Right.
Yes, exactly.
I am Putin.
Yeah, she's like
Putin on the Ritz.
Putin.
She's like an East German from 1968.
Like Olga. Helga. Yeah.
Silence.
Exactly. So she's always like, what did you do? And the guy just met her for the first time, and she's like, are you... And it's funny because, God bless them, they do know a second language, but they're obviously not real fluent because they mix
up the words.
Mix up tenses and things.
Yeah.
And she's just, why you not propose me? And he need propose me. And and she's like talking like he's got to come over there with a ring, and he's like 34 and he's like dated everybody in the state of Florida, and he's like, well, I just met you, and she's like, you tell me, you come over and you propose me, and and then I come to America, and he's like, whoa, slow down. And so
wait, is this the first lady you're talking about? Hey.
And so I'm the same way. I'm like, why would you rush this? I don't.
Why?
But then again, I don't know how this thing works. Maybe you only get so many visits. I don't know.
Maybe.
Is it like, a punch card at Dunkin' Donuts? You get, you can't have more than
What
two
are my
visits.
rewards points at these days?
Yeah, exactly. So so he's like, well, yeah, slow down, but he's still trying to keep her there because she is hot. She's very cute. Whatever.
Is this one of the Housewives shows, or is it the 90
No.
Day?
This is
90
90
Day.
This is 90 Day.
Fiance.
Okay.
And her name is Magda, and his name is Joe. And so
Bag of donuts.
yeah, and so he doesn't want to come clean because she's very stern, but she's like, you just tell me the truth about stuff. And so he lied about, when they were first talking online, I guess he had slept with somebody, dated somebody. But like, that's the other thing. It's like, when do you know? She's like, well, from the minute he spoke to me, he should have not talked to any other women. It's like, that's not really how dating works.
No, that's not how it works.
Especially
at
in
all.
a different country and the whole thing.
Right. You're there, I'm here, we're just chatting away online. But she's like, but some of these people, there's a whole lot of these stories where, the guy was still, or even the woman, I don't know, they're all still messing around right when they started even talking, or even when they're
all talking with like 6 different people at the time. I mean, come on, everybody's doing that.
Exactly.
No, from first email, you are mine, I am yours, that is it.
Right.
Exactly.
Silence.
And that's what some of these people want. But then I'm like, okay, is this another one of these things that's just exaggerating? Like, okay, is this person really that stupid, insecure, or is this just drama?
The producer's like, let's say there were 3 other girls. Run with that. Go ahead, do that one.
Yeah. And so then it comes out, so he tells her one, and she's all pouting at him and mad for the whole thing. And it's like, some of these girls, they're all, and people, men and women, their age shows. But then again, some of them are older and they're doing this shit. And like, there's some of these girls that actually put on a pout, a literal. And I'm like, that's some weird shit.
You're not 5. Right.
Right. And
some dudes like that.
I was gonna say.
Oh,
I don't want to go there, but I'm like, is that part of it? I don't know. Is that part of your allure for some people? God forbid. I don't know. But it just seems like, who would do that? I would. How do you not realize that you look like a 5-year-old? Has no one ever told you stop pouting? I mean, I know my parents did all the time, even up until 10 years ago when they died. So then he kind of, he's one of those guys that, that whatever he comes clean about, it's 10 times worse than what he's actually.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, she's looking for a green card, right? Is that what she wants? I mean, yeah, that's what she
seems that way, because she had already done this to a guy in Germany, and they talking for a month, and she moves to Germany with him, and then that was like a big clusterfuck, and this is coming out, but that's not bad. Well, why would I want to know? I think they're making all these justifications for why they need to become committed right away, or why you need to be married right away. I don't know. She's like, well, we don't have much time. It's
to become citizen.
Yeah, right.
What? What did you say?
To become citizen.
Yeah.
Right.
That is why you married me.
Right. So it's just this weird. So it comes out in the tell-all that none of Joey's friends wanted to come on. They'll have a friend that comes on the show to kind of, I don't know, back up.
Tell their side of it or something.
Yeah. Help this person explain or say what that person's really like. And none of this guy's friends would come on. But they did show a never before seen of a girl in his friend group. Now, he's a guy that has a big friend group, guys and girls. And like, I've always been like that. Chris, you've been like that, know. I mean.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of friends.
a lot of straight women, but come this one girl, they're like I don't know what his name's, Stephanie or something, doesn't matter, and they're saying, so has Joey been with a lot of women? They're like, oh my god, they're like, Joey's like the horniest guy in the world. I don't know. And they're like, I asked one woman, and these people are all in their 30s, so they're like, they don't care, and they're like, well, did you ever hook up with Stephanie? And she's like, yeah. Or she said, did you ever hook up with Joey? And she's like, yeah. And the guy's like, yeah.
Everybody did.
Whatever. Yeah. And it was like, they're like, how long? She's like, oh, it was like 10 years ago. Maybe longer than, whatever. I don't know. But he's like, and then this comes out, and she's in full pout after this. And she's, you can see the steam coming out of her ears, and he's like, I didn't even think about it. I didn't think if it was relevant. It was so long ago. And there is that, because like, shit, I'd be in trouble if I had to tell John everybody I ever, talked to, kissed, whatever. And so But the problem with that is, but when he lied about the other things, she said, you have to tell me, is there anybody else in your friend group? Is there anybody else that you know? Because she didn't want them to have anything to do with him whatsoever, which I think...
they all had to be like...
Was she saying, is there anybody in your friend group that you had something with? Like any kind of flings? Or just in general? Or,
no, like kissed, hooked up with, dated, flirted with, I don't know, whatever. So this other girl that he dated a long time ago, she's like, you can't be friends with her anymore. And I'm like... Because obviously they've both moved on. Who cares? I don't know. But she told him, don't lie to me again. Tell me who. So what do you guys think? Do you care if your person is friends with somebody they used to date?
I mean, now, no. Now that I've been married for 21 years and I got 3 kids and...
Yeah, right. I mean, this is very different.
But early on in the marriage or in the relationships, absolutely. Yeah. Because at that point, you just really don't know... You don't know the person. Even if you've been dating for a while, you still don't know. And it's like, eh.
Right. So it depends. So, Chris, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, we've been together 13 years, so... You know, it's a very different situation because there's nobody. It's not recent anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
If we'd been together a year, it would be relatively recent potentially. But after 13 years, you're like, well, there isn't anybody recent, and they're all half dead probably. I mean, you know, things change so dramatically.
And a corpse? Go ahead.
If you haven't seen, and if they're not having anything to do with anybody really in 13 years, then they're not going to.
Yeah, but also before Joe, you were married to a woman. So.
Well, right. Yeah. But, you know, so things, you know, life changes.
Yeah.
But yes, there was, you know, I can see that if it's relatively recent, like a new relationship, like you're just in it a year or something, and all of a sudden it's like, well, wait a second, they're still chatting it up with their ex, who they...
I can tell you right now that if I got reconnected, like this actually happened, my girlfriend from high school had reached out to me, and we were all part of the same friends group, and some of those people I'm connected with on Facebook and some not, but she had just recently tried to get back in touch with me and say, hey, you know, that kind of thing. And that was not very well received.
By you or
no by the missus.
Yes.
And it was like there's no need to rekindle that connection. Right. There is no need. And she's kind of right.
Yeah.
But at the same time there was some like unfinished business that she wanted to get straightened out and say like, look, you know what? I did you dirty. And I'm sorry, and you didn't deserve that, and we had some good times and that kind of stuff. And it's like, all right.
Okay.
Yeah.
That could be said, for sure.
That's cool. But that's where it ends.
But that doesn't mean we're going to lunch tomorrow.
Right, you know? Right. Do you continue the relationship after that as just like, hey, whatever, you know, how you doing? And I did for a while, and then I just stopped it and stopped responding because Kelly had a point, and it was like, what's the point of this? Are we going to be like, send Christmas cards? I mean,
yeah.
You know?
So there are things. So one, yes, obviously, if there's a person that is a person's ex that has done a lot of damage and it's really toxic and continues to do damage or whatever, no, you can't be friends with them.
No.
Please put them in your past and shut the door.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And be like...
there is talking about people from the past. Okay. So, I'll tell you this other story real quick. So, he might get mad at me, but it doesn't matter. I'm not using names. So, so here I am, 59 years old. In 4 months, I'm going to be 60. And, you know, I'm a fucking dinosaur. I know. So,
I don't know. You're a good-looking dinosaur, so don't worry about that.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
I'm a T-Rex. So, especially after my accident, my arm doesn't reach that far. So anyway, So my high school boyfriend, he was 2 years older than me. So I graduated in 1983, and he was 2 years older than me. It was, pretty, as one thinks in high school, that it was like this kind of, intense love affair. A heavy-duty boyfriend and girlfriend for a few years. Anyway, that's long since over with. He's been married for, 35 years. I've been married, divorced, whatever, long gone. Whatever. We've been, exchanged pleasantries over the year, run into each other, whatever. He was coming up here for his uncle's funeral. Oh, he lives in the down south. You probably guessed what it was from what I said already. So anyway, he lives like, a long, many states away from me.
Florida?
He was coming up past that. So he was coming up here for a funeral, and with his wife and his kids of his uncle or whatever. And I'm like, oh, hey, if John, I said, John and I, hey, if you want to get together with, you and your wife, if you have a minute, maybe we can have lunch someday or whatever. And he's like, oh, no, I couldn't do that. No, I wouldn't want to disrespect you or disrespect her in that manner. That wouldn't be right. And I'm like, huh?
What are we going to be doing, right?
So it's clear that you were both in different spots when it comes to that relationship. Like, you're in different places. Like, for you, it was ancient history, and for him, there's still maybe something a little bit there.
He's like, what if I saw her and
it all comes flooding back, and then I go roller skating again.
I don't think it was that, because man, he ditched me for a girl in college, a long time ago, and then he had a couple series, and then he had, this is like ancient history. But he's always had this a very exaggerated what's the word? Sense of honor.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're gonna end up in a duel or something? I mean,
exactly.
Take the glove off and smack you and be like
people in his life. He's always talking about loyalty and honor and this and whatever. And I'm like, that sounds familiar.
He's the dude that left you for an older chick. Yeah, that's a good sense of honor.
Well, I had moved away. I had moved.
Now the truth comes out. Here's the story. No, I'm just kidding.
No, the same year. He graduated and went off to college. At the end of that school year, I moved away up to near Rochester. So he went down to Pennsylvania. I went that way. So we were fine. Yeah, but we still wrote letters and still tried. There were still some visits, and that went on for until the end of that school year. So end of his freshman year of college. Then he's like, I got it. But we could obviously date other people. We just didn't want to hear about it. So then he ended it, so I'm dating somebody at college now. I'm like, I was heartbroken. I thought I was going to die. Said Rosanna, Dana. And so, so I know I'm telling you this. I hope he's not, whatever. It's everybody in town fucking knows this history, so it doesn't matter. So he's always had this very I'm going to be loyal and this and honor and this. And I'm like, calm down, Betty Sue. It's not that dramatic. And then when he said that, I was just like, but again, what'd you say?
I said, huh? Like, why?
Yeah. Why?
What?
So.
But nothing. It's not like nothing was gonna. If you're with your family and he's with his family, it's not like you were gonna see each other across the room and be like.
But here's the thing, too.
Meet me at the bathroom.
We had been best buddies. We all swam together. We were all part of the swim group. He was one of my best pals since I was in 6th grade. So we were all, it was
So
like,
yeah, nice to reconnect for sure.
there was a
I can
whole
see
bunch
that.
of families. We were all these swim families. There was like me and my sister. He didn't have any siblings, but then there was a couple others, sibling pairs and families. And we were all like, all our parents were friends. Some of our parents went to high school. You know what I mean? It was just like a kid you grew up with. It wasn't that, I mean, I'm not downplaying what the relationship was. That was like, I was 14 through
Right.
16.
Yeah, so that's
So anyway,
nothing's going to become of that.
But then again, to go back to my original point, if those are your values.
Yes. That's
Your
and
code of
that is
honor.
admirable. I mean, he doesn't want his wife to feel badly and
I
Yeah,
guess.
I mean, yeah, I get you could definitely look at it and say, wow, that's he's thinking of other people, even though it might be a little bit like, all right, but okay, could be worse.
Yeah. So to bring it back around, to talking about other things, and then 90 Day Fiance, that you run the gamut of like this one guy, he's Muslim and he doesn't even want his wife,
Right.
I think I told you about her the last time. She can't have her male hairdresser anymore. She can't be alone with
jeepers.
any male. She can't hug or shake hands or anything.
She's
She
not
can't
allowed to
touch.
look west. I mean, it's just,
Yeah, she's
Like,
not allowed.
and
She has to be covered up, but he can do whatever the fuck he wants.
oh right.
And
Well,
everyone
that's
are telling-
society. Yeah.
Yeah, and everyone are telling her like that's bullshit. And then she even does a little thing like, "That's not fair. You can't tell me." I'm like, "Girl, he's Muslim. You're not changing this. His mother is in a burqa head to toe. It's just like it's
I
not.
don't
It's not like West.
understand it. I don't
Yeah, it's not-
understand that. Why would she even? How do you?
But people would say to her like, that's not nice. That's not fair to you. And then she's like, I don't care. It's the way we have our thing, and it's she likes it.
she likes it for now.
But
Until she doesn't
Likes
like
to be
it anymore.
controlled like that?
All she does is, so that's the thing. All she does is complain about how her ex-husband was so controlling. He was just a normal white guy in the States, and he was so controlling. And it's like,
And now you've
Allie,
got
you in
somebody who
danger,
keeps
girl.
you.
Double down on this one.
exactly.
But don't you
It's
think
like,
that's probably more common than
yes, because I know we've all been through things, or we have any of us that have been gone from one relationship to another, have been divorced or whatever, and it's like you don't even know that you've got conditioned to like something or think that's the way it's supposed to be or think that's what you deserve or yada yada yada. It took me like a long time to realize that I wasn't a piece of shit, and I didn't, I didn't deserve to be told I was a pile of shit every day.
Yeah.
So, but there's people that think that, and so anyway, so I want to reach through the screen and like throttle them, but I'm also like, okay, like obviously people are telling you don't have to live like this, but you're like, well, it's the way we choose to live. Then it's like,
And
all right.
bye, Felicia.
yourself-
Right.
Knock yourself out.
I just
Hopefully
can't
he doesn't
imagine.
knock you out. But anyway, so okay, going back to like talking to exes. Are we on a time constraint, Fitz?
What time is it? Oh shit! Yeah, probably should start wrapping it up soon.
Okay. So okay,
It's 6:30.
it's 11:59
fucking Wednesday.
PM.
Right. It's not even Tuesday anymore.
Tuesday.
It's not even Tuesday.
So okay, so quick. I know we got to wrap up, but going back to the talking to your ex or talking to somebody in your past, and okay, so shall we say it goes to what both parties want. So, but you talked about Fitz. You talked about rekindling with somebody in the past. Not rekindling.
Reconnecting, I think, would be more.
Reconnect.
What
accurate.
kind of kindling?
I didn't
did
mean
you
that,
use?
Kelly. I meant like just somebody reaching out to you.
Here she is, crippled with needles in her knee, and you're out canoodling.
So I have had conversations with people.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Now tell me what you think of this. Now, how do I put this? I have had people talk to me in the past. Like say we're at a what do you call those things? Class. What'd you say?
A
Tupperware party.
Say you're at a Tupperware party.
Yeah.
Right.
And somebody from your high school, we went to high school, like, you know, a person that you would be romantically interested in, and they, you know, you're like, oh, hi, how are you? And it's say maybe both
I'd
of
say,
you
what the
have
fuck are you doing
others.
in Rochester?
Tupperware? Why are you buying
Exactly.
Tupperware?
Okay, say you're at a class reunion, fuck's sake. They're at this class reunion, and the person's like, you know, and then both of you are with other people, and you're like, oh, you know, I always thought you were cute, whatever. God, I wish, you know, I could have gone out with you then, whatever. And it's like, yeah, I know, you know, oh, geez, I wish I'd known back then. I wish I'd known, whatever. Oh, gee, you know, whatever.
Yep.
Do you think anything's wrong with that?
No.
No.
Okay.
No.
Unless they go,
unless they go meet you in the bathroom.
Yeah, unless they go, what are you doing next week? And can we talk a little bit more about that? You know, and it's like,
yeah,
no.
I've had that happen.
But then there's no boundaries. Then that person has no boundaries.
Right.
Or somebody's got no boundaries.
And they're like, I literally had one person, I had literally had one person a long time ago want to meet me in the bathroom when both of our significant others were present. I'm like, one, why? And two,
second of all,
why?
what kind of trash are you?
Three, with you, and four, why? So anyway, but then if you then say you do have somebody that like connects to you on Facebook, you start talking, or you're at the reunion and they start saying, "Gosh, you know, I just wanted you to know whatever happened." Maybe it's somebody you did date, and you're like, "I just wanted you to know, like, I had still always loved you. I had, you know, that was me, whatever." I had something.
I don't think there's anything wrong with being honest with them, especially if you've gotten to the point where you can be like,
I think
contemplative about it and look back and be like, oh, you know,
right? Like it
went awry. It didn't work out, but it really wasn't you. I wasn't in the right place, and
right. So like I had somebody too that I maybe TMI again, somebody that I was in a serious relationship with back in, you know, school age, and they were away for the weekend, and their friend, we were all hanging out at somebody's house, and their guy friend, I was walking toward the back of the house to go to the bathroom, and this person followed me, and as I got around the corner, I didn't even know they were following me. They flipped me around and pinned me up against the side of the house and started kissing me. And I was like, what? And fortunately, it lasted like 1 second, 2 seconds, because another guy came right there and was like, whoa, what are you doing? And I'm like, I, for all intents and purposes, had been, I don't want to say assaulted, but you know what I mean? I was somebody, he made an aggressive move. Yeah, made an aggressive move on me, pinned me up against the wall, started kissing me, you know, kissed me by force or whatever. And like a year later or something, that other kid, that kid goes and tells the guy I was going, my boyfriend. The boyfriend had a fit at me, and back then I was like, oh yeah, it was all my fault. I must have done something, as women do.
Right.
I shouldn't have been there. I shouldn't have been walking. Yeah. So, and he was like, you know, I was the worst, and I cheated on him, and he broke up with me and all this stuff. And then we got back together. You know, it was all this, but I was the bad guy for a long, long time. But he was perfectly fine with his buddy.
Right. Where it's like, why, dude, what are you doing, man?
Right. Yeah. So after my girls and all of my kids who got to be teenagers and started dating and whatnot, and one day I was like, and they were watching some show on TV where the girl had been, like attacked and she was crying, and it took place in the 80s, and her mom was like, you did nothing wrong, don't ever let anybody. And I was like, shit, I got to tell my girls this. So I said, somebody does something to you, it is not your fault. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to send him an email and tell him. And so I wrote him an email and said, I just wanted to let you know I did absolutely nothing wrong, and I'm standing up for myself now. I did absolutely nothing wrong, and I'm I'm mad that you made it about that. I'm mad that you made it him. I said, but not all time is gone, but I just wanted to let you know, for my womanhood, I did nothing wrong. And he was gobsmacked. He was like, because now he has a daughter.
Sure.
Who's now in her 20s, and he's like, I am so sorry.
Oh, well, that's good. I was afraid he was going to
I was wondering which way that was going to go.
No, he's like, I am so sorry. I wish I had realized that then. I'm sorry I made you whatever, and I wish things would have been different. Everything would have turned out different, blah, 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 all that, whatever.
Right.
And I'm like, well,
we're not going down that path. However,
yeah, exactly. I'm like, I don't know about that.
I just want you to realize that when people aren't believed, what it does, it changes.
Right.
It changes everything, right?
But as women often do, I took the blame right away because I must have done something. I shouldn't have been there. I was with my sister and all of the other swim kids. We were hanging out at our friend's house. I should have noticed that he was walking behind me. I should have, punched him in the face, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But that's what women do, and it sucks. But it's never too late to say if you're a woman and that shit happened. It was really healing to say, you know what, I did nothing wrong. Anyway, on that note, I want to let everybody know that, so I'm going to be with you every week, except for next week.
Because you're going to be sunning.
So it's not every week. You're a liar. Liar.
Yes, it would be the first time I saw that.
You're going to Florida.
I am. I am going
with Flojo.
The Keys, yes.
Are you going to the Keys?
The Florida Keys.
Nice.
And I'm very excited. Yeah,
it's the only part of Florida I miss. Maybe Disney World.
This winter
it's
has sucked
out
ass.
there. Yeah, it's not good.
There's been like 2 feet of snow on the ground for the entire winter so far. It has not stopped, and I've had. It's
been worse out by you, hasn't it?
Yes.
I mean, it's been
Lake Erie is always.
This is odd for us in Rochester, at least compared to the last, say 10 years, maybe 5-6 years, something like that. It's been light, but this is wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even people.
Global warming is letting us down.
Yeah. It's not
because it's global coldness.
So anyway, I will be with you every week except for next week. I'll be on vacation. So
send us some bikini pictures.
Oh yeah,
of whoever's next to you.
Of John in the bikini in his speedo John.
On that note, please subscribe to Madge Unmuted before you leave. And
smuggling Brillo pads.
Oh, crap.
I just hate you. You're not getting paid this week. Fitz, I'm kidding.
He's got.
Fitz, thank you for being my producer. Love you as always. Chris, thank you so much. Chris, I hope to see you pert near every week whenever you can join us.
Don't come back with too much of a tan. You'll make us look terrible.
I know. Sorry. Okay. And on that note, I'll send you kisses from sunny Florida. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week on another episode of Madge Unmuted. 2 weeks from now. Bye-bye.
I'm so confused.
I know.